I think as a society, it's very important to question how manipulated, how controlled are we by, of course, social media, by algorithms, by Silicon Valley yuppies who in San Francisco decide what you see, what you hear in almost every instant of your life in a little device that we're constantly on, even to the far extent of creating new medical problems within our hands and backs and eyes that are created by overusing this device that is screened into our memory holes. Vox actually recently did a great kind of expose looking into this in their article titled How Digital Technology is Destroying Our Freedom, with the byline saying, quote, "We're being steamrolled by our devices," end quote, Douglas Rushkoff, who's the author that they interviewed for this piece. Now, Jason, this is a very interesting piece. Of course, Vox goes on to later blame capitalism, which, of course, we're going to break down. This is, of course, obviously it's Vox. We're going to break down that point later on in our specific ways. But this article, I'm seeing here one of the statements that I kind of wanted to talk about first and then have you read off another statement here. But this is by the journalist asking the question. He says, "The algorithm thing is tricky to me. On the one hand, algorithms are making our lives easier by predicting what we want and giving it to us. On the other hand, our wants are so manipulated, so curated, that at some point it's no longer a meaningful choice and the algorithms are just doing our thinking for us." Jason, that's true and terrifying when you realize it.
Yeah, and this is a media professor over at Queens College, and he gives a really good response as well. I love this article. And what if you don't want anything at all? That's the thing. That's not even one of the choices you have online. So in that sense, they're not even giving us what we want. They're trying to trigger whatever they can to get us to want. It's about stoking consumption, about convincing us that we need another gadget, another toy, another device that will make us happy. And this guy is the author of a book called Team Human. I'm very interested in it. There's really not much in here that I have a problem with or disagree with. For instance, he talks about how we're willingly being replaced. Automation is absolutely coming. Most people are not aware of it. The only thing that I can really disagree, even in small part, is that he kind of argues that the main mechanism of this is capitalism, and that is because capitalism's sole goal is to make you consume, and human beings and their creations are really like not even a side product of that.
Yeah. I definitely disagree with that because he says capitalism is pushing human beings out and it's going to cause human extinction. He even goes as far as to say that. But again, we have to understand what we're seeing right now is not really capitalism. We're seeing crony capitalism, not only with social welfare, but specifically, especially in the online space, we're seeing monopolies like Google, like Facebook, enacted because of regulations, because of seed funding, because of unfair market condition and tax breaks, where companies like Amazon are creating the world's richest man, allegedly. I don't believe that. It's actually bigger than that. But it's creating allegedly the world's biggest man, with absolutely no repercussions, but a total undisclosed relationship between government and these big tech monopolies that are creating this problem. It is crony capitalism that has created this problem, and if we had a fair, free market, we wouldn't have these big technocratic monopolies. We wouldn't be dealing with such a huge threat, in my own opinion, and this is where I completely disagree with the Vox article on that specific aspect of this. And maybe we could even entertain this with some kind of dialogue between these individuals. I think, Jason, we should try to reach out to some of them, especially if they're in New York, and try to maybe stage a debate or even just a deeper discussion on this issue, because on this main point that they're discussing us being controlled and manipulated by algorithms, I think they're 100% right. And it's not the only warnings we got. There's another article here by The Guardian that says, utterly horrifying, Facebook insider says covert data harvesting was routine. We also have a former Facebook executive saying that social media is ripping apart society. And of course, it's been ripping apart society for the pure benefit of these tech Silicon Valley individuals who are not only getting rich, but controlling and manipulating society on how they want. This is what we see the Chinese government do in many instances as well. And the vast amount of power that these people hold It's a godly power, Jason, and we're not even talking about artificial intelligence, which people are calling, like Vladimir Putin called, the next nuclear weapon. We're talking about just on itself, on the surface value of where it is right now. It is terrifying knowing that some one individual could show you different things and manipulate you to believe in certain things, to act in certain ways, and ultimately decide your behavior for you. That's a reality that we're dealing with right now. And society, Jason, many people are making the argument that it's worse off than ever before, with higher depression rates, higher divorce rates. Actually, divorce rates went down because marriage has actually been less prevalent in our society now, with the divide and conquer agenda, which is getting a lot of people click hits, pretty much being the main talking points for a lot of media institutions. Sorry, I'm just ranting here, Jason. Feel free to cut me off at any time here. But overall, what do you think about some of the assessments, and am I understating them or overstating them in your own opinion?
I mean, there's just so much here to unpack. I really just love the cover of this book for Team Human. I can't agree with it more. Our technologies, markets, and cultural institutions, once forces for human connection and expression, now isolate and repress us. It's time to remake society together, not as individual players, but as the team we actually are, Team Human. Now, I know a lot of people will say, well, that goes against individualism. But if you read this, I think there's a lot of insight here. For instance, the journalist asks him, can we overcome the anti-human agenda embedded, because it really is, embedded in our technology without also overturning the civilization that produced those technologies? Because we seem to be stuck in this paradigm, and the values of that paradigm are reflected in our technologies. So it's difficult to get rid of one without getting rid of the other. I agree. This is a great answer. It is, isn't it? I mean, what do we go back to? You can't go backwards in time, guys. People have been doing shitty things to each other since the beginning of time. The thing is, we've never quite had the capacity to destroy ourselves like we do today. And I think that's not just a metaphor, right? So he's not just talking about, say, our governments or our large institutions being able to literally bomb each other into oblivion, right? He's also talking about how we can individually destroy ourselves from spending too much time on this little device, putting a camera in front of our face, constantly taking selfies, showing people what we eat, how we live, needing that dopamine dump of a like, of a thumbs up, of a share, rather than embracing one another and getting those same dopamine dumps by having human interaction. I encourage everybody to go check this article out. It's really good.
Yeah, Jason, I would even argue that human interaction, human relations between each other are at an all-time low. Look around society, it's a lot different. And there's a reason. Social media, the monopolies that were created by government, literally have gamified this. They gamified getting likes on Instagram. It's like a roulette wheel when you're refreshing the Twitter feed or the Instagram feed and just going all the way up. Literally, the same psychological aspects that created addiction and gambling are the ones that are run on social media. And with that manipulation, Facebook has even done other psychological studies showing how they could change your mood, control your emotions with what they show you in that specific timeline. This is something that they're looking into, and they've been the most reckless, the most obscure. They've been the most insidious when it comes to these detrimental effects on society that they knowingly cause, and they're doing it in a way where they're just profiting off of it. That's why we're seeing so many individuals, so many executives leave recently, so much scrutiny put on that organization, and so many people coming out, like the former Facebook insider, the former Facebook executive, coming out and warning people, because these warnings are real, and we're facing the repercussions of them, and we haven't seen the full repercussions of them yet. So this is absolutely something important to ponder, important to talk about. My only kind of statement that I want to leave after all this is, hey, get out there, go into nature, go hug some trees. I got some nature here. Go take off your shoes, get some grounding. Holy cow! I don't. I got nothing else to say, but I think humanity is in big trouble, and it's in big trouble because of the issues that we talked about, and it's also going to end capitalism overall in the long, trajectory, in my opinion.
No, absolutely, Luke. And again, technology is a double-edged sword, folks. But you have to be very mindful. I can't recommend this article enough. Please give it a look. I got to tell you, I'm probably going to end up checking this guy's book out. That's probably my next read, Team Human. Maybe I'll even do a review on it, but it is important subject matter that we definitely have to look at. Folks, if you like what we do not one, not two, not three, but 4 videos a day over 2 channels, Pulse Change and We Are Change. Make sure that you are, in fact, subscribed. Smash that bell so you get the notifications. Hit the thumbs up. Share it on social media. And most importantly, be the change you want to see in the world.